Hi friends, it's Miss Leslie, and today on my video lessons we're going to be talking about plants. We're going to be talking about the plant life cycle, and we're also going to be talking about parts of a plant. So last week we learned about different life cycles, and we said that everything goes through life cycles. Humans go through life cycles, animals go through life cycles, and now, what do you know? Plants go through life cycles too. Last week we went over the life cycle of a butterfly and the life cycle of a frog, and today it's going to be of a plant. And something that plants absolutely need to grow is the sun. So you'll notice in both pictures that I have a sun because they're absolutely essential for any living thing to grow. Okay, so here we have the plant life cycle. And first we have seeds. And we have all different kinds of seeds. Beans are seeds, and we have sunflower seeds, we have flower seeds, and we have all different kinds of plants too. So trees are plants, and we have flowers that are plants, and we have vegetable plants and fruit plants. So we have all different kinds of seeds and all different kinds of flowers too. Sometimes we eat plants, right? Because we eat things like spinach and lettuce that are considered plants. And sometimes we eat seeds like sunflower seeds or popcorn, because popcorn comes from a seed as well. Except that it pops, it doesn't really grow. If we put it in the ground to grow, it would become corn actually. But we pop it when it's dry. And sometimes that happens in seeds. Usually when they're dry, they're asleep. They're what we call dormant, right? They're alive, but they're asleep. Kind of like animals go through hibernation, they go to sleep. Our plants kind of go through hibernation too, until they feel that our environment around us is ready to provide them for an environment for them to grow successfully. So they need soil, they need air, they need sun, they need water for them to be able to feel like they're ready to grow. So first we have the seeds, and once you have the seeds, you have something that's called germination. And germination, here you see it's a little tiny bean right here, and a little tiny plant starts to just sprout out, and that's when it germinates. So the seed feels that it's ready to grow. Usually it's in the soil, and it'll start by growing a little tiny baby plant that's called germination. Then after, you will get the roots and you will get the stem. And the plant, know it or not, it doesn't have a brain, but it senses what way needs to be pushed up and what needs to be pushed down. So the roots, what do you think? Do you think the roots are going to push up towards the sun? Or do you think the roots are going to push down towards the soil? Let's think about it for a second. Okay, so we have roots and stem. That's right, so smart. Kiss your brains, guys. Roots are going to push down towards the ground. That's what's gonna go into the soil, and that is actually what helps it absorb the nutrients and the water from the soil that it needs to grow. And once it gets bigger, the roots are also going to help our plants stay put and not move or blow away, right? And trees have very big roots as opposed to flowers that have much smaller roots because they're a smaller plant. And they have a much smaller stem. If you believe it or not, the trunk of a tree is a root too. Roots and stems come in all different sizes depending on the size of the plant. So if it's a smaller plant, it's going to have a smaller stem and smaller roots. And if it's a bigger plant, it's going to have a bigger stem and bigger roots that are going to go down in the soil. And that is going to help feed it and make sure it gets all the nutrients it needs. After that, we're going to have a small plant or a baby plant. And it's just going to push up past the soil, and it's going to have some leaves. Now our leaves are important because it's what helps our plant absorb the sunlight, and then that is what makes its food. So it's getting its food from the sun, from its leaves, it's absorbing it into it, and it's helping it grow. Okay, and it's still a baby plant. It doesn't have any flowers on it, or it doesn't have any fruit on it. Some plants grow flowers, some plants and trees grow fruit, but not everything grows fruit and not everything grows flowers. When you go outside and you go on a walk, notice all of the plants around you and see if some of them have fruits, some of them have flowers, some of them might just have leaves. So they all have different kinds of things depending on the kind of plant that it is. Okay, so after you have the little baby plant here, then finally it starts to grow a flower, and then you have the adult plant, right? So you'll have a flower, or you'll have a fruit, or you'll have some other sort of thing that's on the stems and the leaves and the branches. And after that, in the middle of our flowers, like you'll see in our flower parts, you have, usually that is where you have more seeds. Or in a fruit, when you cut it open, right, that is where you get the seeds. And the seeds are important for our cycle to start all over again. And when you have them in flowers like this, in the middle, you either have the wind, or you have other animals like bees sometimes that do something that's called pollination. So they take the seeds from one plant, and when you, the bees will usually take it from one plant, and then they'll land on another plant, and then they'll fertilize it, and then that's how you get more plants. Or they'll take a seed, maybe an animal, or the wind blows really hard and it blows some seeds into some soil, and then it starts the cycle all over again. So the seeds go into the ground, and they get the nutrients they need, and they start all over again. But remember that it's crucial for them to have the sun to be able to grow nice and big and strong, just like it's important for us to go outside and absorb some sun too. It's good for our skin, it's good for our health, because we get vitamin D that makes us nice and strong, right? And once you have the adult plant, then you have your actual flower or fruit, right? And you have your petals here. That's the pretty part that usually has the pretty colors, right? And then in the middle, you have your seeds. And that's, like I said, what usually helps us with the pollination or help other flowers to grow. And then we have the stem. And just like we said, the stem comes in different sizes and different shapes depending on the size of your plant. And it has our leaves. So our stem and our leaves are what helps transfer our food up, absorb the sun, and make it nice and strong. And then we have our roots that help absorb the water from the soil that it actually is essential for it to grow. And that is done by our roots. The roots is kind of like the mouth of the plants. Just like we use our mouth to drink our water and it goes through our bodies, the plant uses the roots to drink its water from in the soil, from when it rains, from when we garden and we use our hose to water our plants. Then it gets the water, brings it up and transfers it towards the rest of the plant that it uses it to grow. And we have the sun here again, right? So we have the petals, we have the seeds, we have the stem, we have the leaves, and we have the roots of a plant as well. Okay, and all of that is all of that you get after the seed sprouts, germinates, and grows. Okay? So that's not like an animal because it doesn't really move, right? You can't see it going through a cycle, but it still goes through a cycle. Just like our water went through a cycle, our insects went through a cycle, and we go through a cycle, and now our plants go through a cycle as well. So everything goes through cycles, and it's interesting to learn about all of the cycles, especially now that it's spring. We have our baby animals, and now we have our plants and our flowers that are sprouting and growing. Okay, so and you guys will go ahead and you guys will watch a few little videos that will tell you more about seeds and parts of a plant, and then you'll see my video lesson. And then I have a quick little science project that we have as well. So here in the little container, I have, like I said before, even beans are a kind of a plant, of a seed, because if we plant them, they will sprout, germinate, and they will grow as well. So we're gonna try to grow our own bean plant. And all you need is some beans. And I only had black beans at my house, but if you have different color beans at your house, you could even use all of the color beans. So if you have red beans or white beans and black beans, or lima beans, right? You can use all of them so you can see the different ways that all of them grow. Maybe all of the plants look a little bit different depending on the kind of bean. So I only had those, and I have them in a little bit of water because, how I said earlier, if when they're dry, they think they're asleep and they're not ready to grow. So if you soak them in some water, then they will start to wake up and they'll say, oh, it's time for me to grow. I'm gonna do some growing now. So then maybe they'll do some growing for us. Okay, so then you need a few little baggies, 2 Ziploc bags, and then you need 2 paper towels that are wet. Okay, and all you're going to do is stick your paper towel in your baggie. Okay, that's nice and humid and wet in there. Okay, and then you're gonna take your beans out of your water and you're gonna put them inside of one side of your bag, so it's touching the wet paper towel. Okay, so I just put my beans in there. And then you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna zip it up. And you're gonna do it with 2 different baggies. Okay, and you're gonna do the same thing with the others. So you're gonna put the wet paper towel inside of the bag. There it is. And then you're gonna take your beans and you're gonna put them inside of your baggie. Okay. There you go. So now I want you to put 1 set of beans in an area where it's nice and sunny. Maybe in the window you can tape it up where it's nice and sunny and it can get a little bit of sun, and watch to see if they sprout. And then I want you to put the other one maybe inside of your closet or in your room somewhere where the sun doesn't really hit it. And we want to see which one is going to grow better. If the beans with the sun are going to grow better, or if the beans without the sun are going to grow better, or if they grow at all. And they should definitely sprout, but we want to see what environment is better for the beans to grow in. A dark kind of environment where it's not getting a lot of sun, or one where it's getting nice sunlight through a window, right? So we want to go ahead and do that and see how many days it takes for it to start sprouting and then germinate, grow stem and roots, and then grow into a full adult plant. And once you get a little plant going, you can take them out of here and you can transfer it into a little pot with soil, and then you will have your own, not soil, and then you will have your own little bean plant. And then we can just watch it grow. Right? So that'll be cool. So go ahead and do that. Watch my video lessons about the plant life cycle and parts of a plant. Do your little art project. And then remember, I always want to see everything that you do. So if you do it, take pictures and send them to me. I love to see your work. And in my next video, we'll do a little bit of art having to do with the plant as well. And then we'll see each other tomorrow in the morning for circle time. I love you guys. Have a good one. Bye.